All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Got another home launch golf video for you today. We're going to be starting a new launch monitor series. If you watched my last video, you probably know what we're going to be doing. I kind of announced at the end of that video that I had gotten the Rapsodo MLM 2 Pro, and that's what's going to be coming up next on the channel, so stay tuned. Alright, so before we get into the demo that I'm going to have probably at the end of the video, I just kind of wanted to run through the quick start guide and then just kind of highlight some of the things I think makes this device unique. Real quick here in the quick start guide, as you can kind of see behind me, we'll just go through what's in your box. You're going to obviously get the launch monitor, you're going to get the tripod. It comes with a nice carrying case for everything, and then you obviously get a charging cable with the device. And then the other thing they give you is a sleeve of these Callaway ChromeSoft X RPT balls. And what the RPT technology is these dots around the ball. It helps the device, actually the camera of the device, see the spin and calculate the spin rate and the spin axis, which will be very handy for the accuracy of the data. However, I wish that it didn't depend on special technology like that. You could just use a regular ball, but we will be testing that out in some of the videos as far as how accurate it is with the RPT technology in this ball versus how accurate is it with me just using my regular ball that I use on course. All right, so quickly to run through these things. Basically, the device is radar kind of based, but it gives you two cameras, and that's kind of what sets it apart from like the other devices in this price point, like the Garmin R10 and the SC4. So we'll talk more about those and kind of get into displaying those in more of the demo videos. You got basically an LED light on the front. It's going to show you charging status, but then it also is going to show you a bunch of other different statuses. One thing, you will have to be using their app, so you'll need to download their MLM2 Pro app from either the Android Play Store or the Apple iOS App Store. That's one thing you can kind of do if you're waiting on your device to come in the mail, or if you've got it out of the box and you're charging it before your first use. You can kind of go ahead and kind of create your account, set up your bag, and kind of do those initial things that you need to do before you kind of get started in this. All right, one of the cool features I thought was the design that went into the tripod. They obviously kind of thought through maybe you using a mobile device, obviously with the app with this. So as you can kind of see in these depictions here, there's a way that you can kind of set up your mobile phone, but then also there's a way you can change the tripod around, and then you can actually have a wider base so that you can actually use it with a tablet as well. I think it's pretty handy that they do give you an LED guide, so it's kind of a quick reference as to what the status of the device is, and then they give you some additional resources as far as like QR codes. You get the full user manual from here, and then you also get kind of a link to their FAQ page, which can help you in any kind of troubleshooting if you're having any problems or issues. I will say, like, this device needs a little bit more space than the previous device I reviewed, the SC4 and the Orbit Launch Monitor, but we're still only looking at minimum requirement here is like 6.5 feet behind the ball, and then 8 feet of ball flight into the net of the screen for indoor use. So I am going to try to set it up for that minimum requirement, just so that we can kind of test it at that range, so that you can kind of get a true representation of, will this work in my space if you're kind of space limited. Alright, so some of the things I just kind of wanted to highlight and point out real quickly that I thought make this device really, really cool, and probably make it the best at its price point, is we're kind of just on the launch page of the device. Here, as you can see behind me, you've got their impact vision camera. I kind of talked about this briefly a while ago in the startup guide, but this to me is kind of one of the best features that you could have, because I mean, you really want to see how you're hitting a ball. Like, maybe you think you flushed it, maybe you hit it off the heel a little bit, maybe you hit it off the toe. With all of these other launch monitors, unless you go out and buy additional swing cameras, to kind of capture this information for you, you don't get to see that. You don't get to validate, what you think you felt on your contact. And so this is going to give that to you, and I think that's just huge at this price point. Then here you've kind of got your your shot vision camera. It's going to give you that basically your swing vision, so you get to see your full swing. And then not only that, but if you're using it outdoor at the range, you can kind of get some assistance as far as with the shot tracer of the ball. I think that's great. I mean, I'm getting kind of a little bit older now. My eyes don't work as well as I used to, so sometimes it's harder for me to track the ball or even to find the ball, especially when I'm hitting driver or longer clubs at the range. So, have something like this that I can kind of go back to and actually show me the ball flight. I think that's a pretty good feature. All right, and then we'll quickly talk about like kind of the the data points that it's going to present to you for this device. We'll talk about the ones that are measured versus the ones that are calculated. They kind of indicate here the ones that are actually measured. So you've got carry, you've got launch angle, spin rate, club speed, ball speed, spin axis, and launch direction. And then for just the calculated ones, we're looking at total distance, descent angle, side carry, apex of the shot, smash factor, and then the shot type. So I feel like as far as it maybe doesn't give you as many metrics as the Garmin R10 did, but I think you're getting more measured metrics here than with the Garmin R10 or even with the SC4. I think the Garmin gives you more calculated metrics, but you're still going to get the majority of the data that you need, and I think the accuracy of this data is going to help not only in game improvement, but also in kind of like just simulation as well. We're going to take this thing out, get it connected up to my iPad, and we're going to do some demo shots here in the indoor simulator and kind of take a look and see what we think about the data. All right, so now that we're out in the sim, I'm going to quickly walk you through kind of like the connection and how to get connected to the MLM2 Pro from my iPad. We'll quickly cover kind of like my setup. So currently I've got the MLM2 Pro laser measured at 14.5 feet to the screen, and then this red plastic tee I've got set down here as a marker. That is 8 feet laser measured from there to the screen, and that's where we're basically going to be hitting our shots from. All right, so first things first, we're going to launch the Rapsodo app. We've got the device powered on and the light is red on the front of it. So now we'll go over to Profile, Connect MLM2 Pro. Now on this page you're going to get two options. You either get an established direct Wi-Fi connection or you get established local network connection. The direct connection is you basically using Wi-Fi that the device provides, so you're communicating directly with the device. Since I'm AirPlaying my iPad through to my projector up here on the screen, I'm actually going to have to use the local network connection, just simply because if I take my iPad off my home network, it will no longer AirPlay up to the screen here. But if you are out at the range, you're probably most likely going to want to use that other option, that direct Wi-Fi connection. So we'll choose local connection, choose the device. It's going to initially search out the device and connect to it through Bluetooth, and then it's going to basically try to force it to scan for your networks. It found my Wi-Fi networks, so I'm going to click connect. It's going to move on to finalizing the connection. From what I understand, like in the most recent app update, this kind of connection menu has changed and kind of simplified and makes it a little bit easier to understand where if you're having connectivity problems, kind of where it's breaking down at. All right, so we are connected. All right, so we are going to go into practice mode first, and then you got to answer some questions. We are indoor, so we're hitting into a screen, but technically, I mean, they don't have an option for screen, so you select net. And then we are using the Callaway RPT ball so that we can get the accurate spin measurement. And then we'll just leave it in the demonstrations default at sea level. And continue on. All right, so it's going to have me select a club from my bag. So we are going to start off today with pitching wedge. All right, and then as you can see, it kind of starts your shot vision camera so that you can kind of quickly align the device. And honestly, I think that's just probably like one of the greatest features. You know, not only do you get the shot vision and impact vision with the cameras, but the ability to quickly adjust your alignment and set up your device just makes it that much easier. All right, so now that we're in the practice mode, your default layout here in portrait style, you've got kind of your 4 data tiles across the top. Then we've got the shot vision cameras active here on the left, and then you've got the 2D like top-down view of the range on the right. And then down at the very bottom, you're going to have kind of like almost a spreadsheet type view of your shot data. So there is a button down here in the bottom right to where we can flip this into landscape mode. And most people are going to do that because that's going to give you, you know, especially if you're using a projector or some sort of screen or TV to display this on, you're going to want it wider in your viewing format. So now what the default is shot vision on the left and then spreadsheet version on the right. But then you can quickly select through your options over here. We can go back to the 2D top-down range, or we can have it display basically the data metrics that we've got selected and really big numbers here on the right for the last shot. I personally want to see kind of the curvature of the ball, so I'm going to select the 2D top-down view of the range. All right, and so we're going to try to move through this as quickly as possible to keep the video short. So I'm going to hit 2 shots with each club. We're going to start off with the pitching wedge, and I'm going to do that now. Typically, I carry this club about around 135, but I haven't taken any swings yet today, so we might be a little bit short of that. And then also, I've got it set at sea level, which is 800 or 900 feet lower elevation than what I normally play at. All right, so here's shot one. We got green light on the unit back there. Kind of felt a little bit fat on that one. Probably a little bit left, honestly. So we're at 130.4 carry there. Yeah, kind of pulled it left a little bit. You get your, shot vision replay, which is nice. All right, we'll go ahead and hit a second one here. Hopefully, hit a better one. All right, that one felt like I pushed it out to the right and maybe drew it back a little bit. Contact was thin, so I didn't get great carry. But yeah, as you can kind of see, it kind of starts to the right of the center line. It looks like it kind of comes back a little bit to the left and kind of holds straight from there. All right, so real quick before we move on to the 7-iron, let's look at the impact vision of that last shot. Because like I said, I felt like I pushed it out to the right, like I typically do, and probably had a little bit of a drawback to it on it. And I really think that feature is like, it just, at this price point, that is just insane to me that they can give you an impact vision camera. All right, so we'll change clubs here to our 7-iron. I do love the fact that once you change clubs too, that it actually kind of then just kind of visually shows you like, hey, are you sure you selected this? Yeah. All right, so here's first shot with 7-iron. Going to be a little short today, but typical carry for me with this is around 175. I kind of turned, kind of got a little bit fat. Going to draw probably to the left a little bit. Yeah. So far, not great contact today. These early shots, but let's hit one more and see. All right, that one felt like I compressed it really well. Kind of my push draw probably. So ended up with 171.9 carry. It did push it. Didn't really come back like I was hoping it would. All right, let's take a quick look. The impact vision on that one. Yeah, and you can kind of see, just kind of push it straight out to the right there. Just didn't get around it to kind of get that draw on it, unfortunately. All right, so we're going to hit a couple drivers here. I'll try to draw the first one and then maybe hit a fade on the second one just so we can kind of have a little contrast in shots. So here's number one. 254.8 carry. Not terrible. Kind of like my typical shot there. Kind of a push draw. Like I said, not loosened up, so I'm not expecting big numbers here. All right, so let's try to hit a fade real quick. Oh, that's off the toe and going to be well right. It's going to be more like a slice. Yeah, that's what I felt. So let's take a look at that impact vision on that shot. I'm pretty sure you're going to see it kind of impacts on the toe coming across the face there. Yeah, just out there. It was not very good contact. And then we're going to take a quick look at the data. So to do that, you go back out to your home screen, and then up here in the top left-hand corner, you're going to notice you got sessions, stats, and simulations. So because of the practice area is actually under a different category, different tile than the simulations, your practice session data is going to appear under sessions. So real quickly, from the outside here looking, like you kind of just get your average as far as like carry there displayed. And then if we click on that, you're going to get your average carry number in the top left corner there of the shots. But then you also get kind of a nice little dispersion chart to where you can kind of see quickly kind of how you were hitting those shots. And then if you swipe right to left, you'll also get a trajectory and then kind of a distance for each one of those shots. I really love how they lay out the data. Like it's something that you can access very quickly. Basically I can see my numbers, I can see how I hit those shots and kind of move on. And that's kind of what you want, from practice. Something you can maybe go back and review in a few months and maybe see how you've kind of changed your overall carry numbers with your clubs. All right, so we'll go back out here to simulations, and that's where we're going to find our range session. So just kind of like the same thing, you're going to get an overall carry display number here at the top. We click on that, you get your average carry for each club in the top left-hand corner, and then you're going to basically get your shot data down there below in kind of a spreadsheet form. Now, I will say I've seen sometimes like where the club doesn't identify correctly, even though it's selected. But if you ever have that, or you ever run into that to where the club isn't right, like if you click on one of these shots, you can click the double club down here at the bottom, and then say change this. So like I changed that 7-iron to a pitching wedge. Well, obviously that has now skewed my average carry number in the top left-hand corner. But let's just say like I forgot to change my club when I hit that 7-iron shot. I can quickly just go back in here, hit the double club, and then change that to the actual club that I hit. And then it's going to readjust that average carry number there at the top. So I think that's really nice function because sometimes you kind of, you're hitting balls, you're hitting shots in here, and like you forget, like, oh, I left it on driver, and now I've like hit all of my shots. And you know, I've kind of done that before, like in GS Pro, and you don't have a really good way of going back and actually editing those shots to do an export. So you kind of basically have to just go back and re-hit. All right, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you got something out of this, and if you did, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. There's going to be a bunch more videos I've got coming up for the MLM2 Pro now that I'm home. I've kind of out of the house the last 10 of the last 14 days on a couple different vacations. So now that I'm back home, I'm going to be home for a while. I expect that there's going to be a lot of content coming here in the next couple of weeks on this device. We will get into more advanced comparisons than this. This was kind of a first look overview. But I will be comparing the MLM2 Pro coming up to my GC2, and we'll be comparing it with the RBT ball and also with just like kind of my regular gamer ball. So again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.